Imagine trying to run a $1 billion company, right? But the CEO is just chronically sleep deprived.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like an absolute disaster waiting to happen.
Right, and the accounting department is still using like a wooden abacus or something, and the factory floor is basically just held together with duct tape and wishful thinking.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't expect that company to thrive. I mean, you would expect it to completely crash.
Exactly. But when it comes to our own lives, that is exactly how so many of us operate. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a massive stack of materials from a single highly integrated lifestyle and wealth brand.
Run by Kim and Ray Gedstad.
Yes, exactly. And the mission for this deep dive is for us and you listening to figure out how they've taken completely different fields. Health optimization, real estate, mortgage lending, and business automation, and somehow engineered them into one cohesive machine.
What's what's fascinating here is the sheer audacity of what these sources are attempting. I mean, it's striking. The Gedstads aren't just teaching you one isolated skill, like how to buy a rental property or how to lose 10 pounds.
Right? It's way bigger than that.
Exactly. They are pulling together a highly diverse set of credentials. You have holistic health coaching layered on top of real estate expertise, specifically through Coldwell Banker distinctive properties.
Which is a major player.
Yeah. And then that is layered on top of mortgage lending through Village Mortgage. And finally, it's all wrapped up in business systems consulting. So they are attempting to architect a complete end to end blueprint for multi generational legacy building.
Okay, let's unpack this because the core concept holding all these different platforms together is what they call the mind body bank trinity.
The Trinity, right.
Yeah, and the underlying premise across all these documents is that merely surviving day to day simply isn't enough. The philosophy here is that to truly thrive, you have to stop treating your physical health, your mental resilience, and your financial strategy as like separate chores.
Because they aren't separate,
Right. They argue you have to treat them as one single highly integrated system.
which requires a really fundamental shift in perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, most people view health as a lifestyle choice and wealth as a math problem.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
But the Gedstad ecosystem views health as the biological hardware that is strictly required to run the wealth software.
Which makes sense logically, but practically, I mean, where do you even start building an empire like that?
Well, looking at the blueprint, it seems they insist you have to start with the biological hardware.
Right?
The argument is that you just can't enjoy generational wealth or even make sharp, strategic financial decisions if the CEO of the company, your brain and body, is basically falling apart.
It's like trying to tune a high performance sports car right before a grueling cross country race. You have to get under the hood first.
Exactly. And the texts outline what they call elite health optimization protocols. And they frame this not as vanity, but as corporate asset management for the human body.
Corporate asset management. Wow. So, what does that actually look like on a daily basis?
They dive deeply into mitochondrial optimization.
Hmm.
Mitochondria are the powerhouses of your cells. They generate ATP, which is the actual chemical currency of energy in your body.
Right.
To supercharge this production, the Gedstads advocate for targeted cold therapy and red light exposure.
Wait, let me make sure I understand the mechanism there because, cold therapy is everywhere right now. Everyone's doing ice baths on social media.
Absolutely, it's a massive trend.
So, my understanding is that exposing yourself to extreme cold forces your body into a temporary state of shock, right? And that shock triggers the mitochondria to become more efficient at producing heat and energy.
Yeah,
It's essentially a biological stress test that forces the system to upgrade its own capacity.
Yeah, and the texts actually refer to that exact biological mechanism as hormesis.
Yeah,
It's a beneficial amount of acute stress that forces adaptation.
hormesis. Okay.
And from there, the blueprint moves into hormonal mastery.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about balancing testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin.
Insulin is a big one.
Huge. The text specifically points to strategic fasting and sleep optimization as the primary levers to control insulin resistance. Because when insulin is constantly spiking from, say, a poor diet and fragmented sleep, the brain just doesn't receive a steady, reliable supply of glucose.
Which leads directly to that awful afternoon brain fog.
Exactly.
The kind of lethargy that makes you want to skip an important financial meeting or just put off analyzing a real estate deal. So, the biological optimization is entirely in service of maintaining the cognitive stamina needed for high stakes decision making.
Yes, and the text also mentions recovery science, specifically utilizing HRV monitoring.
HRV, I see that tossed around in fitness apps constantly, but what does heart rate variability actually tell us in this context? I mean, for a wealth builder,
Well, heart rate variability measures the tiny microscopic variations in time between your heartbeats. It basically acts as a direct window into your autonomic nervous system.
okay, so higher is better.
Right. A high HRV means your body is resilient. It can easily switch back and forth between the fight or flight stress mode and the rest and digest recovery mode.
And a low HRV?
A low HRV means your nervous system is just stuck in chronic stress, completely unable to recover.
Wow, so you're basically redlining the engine?
Exactly. The Gedstads emphasize tracking this metric because you cannot operate a multi generational wealth strategy at peak performance for decades if your nervous system is burning out in year two. You need objective data to tell you when to push harder and when to just recover.
And it doesn't stop at the neck, right? Because the sources dive deep into what they call mental wealth.
Yes, specifically training the brain using neuroplasticity.
Right, that's the scientific concept that your brain isn't static, it can physically rewire its neural pathways based on how you challenge it.
Yep, they advocate for cognitive load management to prevent decision fatigue. They even mention building memory palaces, which is this ancient spatial visualization technique to enhance raw cognitive function.
I notice they anchor all these biological and mental claims really heavily on Kim's specific credentials. Like she's listed as a certified health coach from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition.
And a metabolic health specialist, yeah,
Yeah,
with advanced training in insulin resistance and cellular health strategies.
but I have to push back a little bit here. I mean, looking at this massive list, nootropics, which are cognitive enhancing supplements, mitochondrial tracking, hormonal balancing, ice baths, continuous HRV monitoring, it sounds like a full time job.
It's a lot.
Does a person need a medical degree and 3 hours of free time every single morning just to get through a Tuesday in this system?
I mean, the sheer volume of protocols could easily seem overwhelming to anyone reading this for the first time. However, it is crucial to look at how they frame it for you, the listener.
Okay, how so?
They aren't presenting these as optional biohacking hobbies or weekend wellness treats. These biological and mental protocols are framed as the absolute mandatory foundation for clarity.
So it's not a luxury?
No, the underlying logic is that you simply cannot make a $1 million real estate move or design a complex trust fund if you are constantly suffering from chronic fatigue or poor stress resilience. The physical optimization is strictly the prerequisite for the financial execution.
Okay, so assuming you follow the blueprint, You are biologically optimized. You are sleeping perfectly. Your HRV is sky high. Your cells are churning out energy, and you have zero brain fog.
You're a machine.
Right. But energy without capital is just a very healthy hamster running on a very fast wheel.
That is a great visual.
To actually build a legacy, that physical energy needs a financial lever. So, how do the sources suggest we solve the capital problem?
That leads directly into the bank pillar of the Trinity. This is the actual mechanics of wealth creation.
Okay,
The sources refer to this as the Walt Disney model. The philosophy is that you don't just build a single isolated project, you build an interconnected empire designed to span multiple generations.
like the theme parks feeding the movies, feeding the merchandise.
Exactly. And the financial engine they propose
hmm
relies on two very specific, somewhat unconventional financial instruments.
Here's where it gets really interesting because the first major tool they introduce is the home equity conversion mortgage, or HECM. They actually refer to it as the reverse revolution.
Yes,
Now, the documents outline specific parameters. To qualify, homeowners have to be 62 or older. It is an FHA insured program. But the massive hook they emphasize is that it requires zero monthly mortgage payments and the homeowner retains 100% ownership of the home.
that's the key.
Wait, let me stop right there and play devil's advocate for a second. Aren't reverse mortgages generally viewed out in the world as like a negative thing?
Oh, absolutely. They have a ton of stigma.
Yeah. The conventional wisdom I've always heard paints them as a desperate last resort. For people who fail to save enough for retirement and are basically forced to eat the equity in their house just to afford groceries, how do these sources justify flipping that narrative so aggressively?
Well, the texts tackle that exact stigma head on. They explicitly acknowledge that reverse mortgages have a terrible reputation precisely because they've historically been marketed as a lifeline for the underprepared.
Right? Late night TV commercials.
Exactly. But the Gedstads reframe the Heckem as a strategic tool for the sophisticated. The core argument here is all about capital efficiency.
Okay, walk me through that.
Think about it mechanically. If you have a house that is fully paid off, you might have, say, $500,000 trapped in drywall and shingles,
Just sitting there.
right? That money is earning zero interest. It provides zero cash flow.
Right. The house itself might appreciate in market value over time, sure, but the actual equity sitting in the house is dead money. You can't use drywall to buy a rental property or fund a new business.
Precisely. The sources argue that leaving capital trapped like that is just a mathematical error. Why leave hundreds of thousands of dollars dormant when you could safely extract it through a HECM, still maintain full ownership, still live in the home, but now put that liquid capital to work in an active compounding vehicle?
Which brings us to the second instrument. The blueprint pairs that HECM cash with something called the infinite banking concept, or IBC.
Yes, the IBC.
The sources use phrases like compound velocity, where every dollar is working twice. I really need to understand the actual math and mechanics behind this because infinite banking can sound a bit like a late night infomercial magic trick if it isn't explained properly.
It really can. But based strictly on the text, infinite banking involves using a specific type of dividend paying whole life insurance policy as a personal banking system, or what they call a vault.
A vault. Okay.
Here's the actual mechanism of how it works. You put money into this policy, building up its cash value. Let's say you have $100,000 of cash value in the policy. When you want to make an investment, say buying a new business or a rental property,
Yeah.
you don't actually withdraw your $100,000
Wait, why not?
because if you did withdraw it, you would immediately lose the opportunity to earn future compound interest on that money.
Ah, I see the mechanism. Instead of withdrawing your own money and killing the compounding effect, you take a loan directly from the insurance company
Right?
and you use your cash value as the collateral to secure that loan.
That is the critical mechanism of IBC because your original $100,000 never actually left your account. The insurance company continues to pay you dividends and compound interest on the full amount.
As if you never even touched it.
Exactly. You use the insurance company's money to buy your new asset while your own money continues to grow uninterrupted inside the vault.
Wow.
That is compound velocity. The money is growing inside the policy while simultaneously funding an external asset that is also generating returns. You've got it. The text described this as creating a completely self sustaining wealth engine, and they anchor these high level concepts with concrete examples from their tribe's success stories.
Oh, right. The case studies. 8 properties just from unlocking that debt equity. And they also mention a younger example in the sources, right? Because obviously a a 2 8-year-old isn't qualifying for a reverse mortgage.
So they highlight Michael, who is 28.
Okay.
He utilized the infinite banking and biological health strategies early on. The text notes he built a $500,000 portfolio in just 5 years.
Wow. 5 years?
Yeah, demonstrating that the compounding effects of these systems work regardless of your starting point as long as the underlying mechanics are sound.
Okay, so let's take stock of the machine so far. You have a optimized biological foundation. You have a sophisticated cash flowing financial system collateralizing home equity and life insurance.
You've got the energy and the capital.
Exactly. You have the energy and you have the capital. But if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, or even just someone managing a complex investment portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
there is a massive bottleneck waiting for you.
Operations.
Operations. If your daily operations require you to manually oversee every single detail, if you are spending 10 hours a day doing data entry, chasing leads, and fixing broken software, the legacy just stalls.
Completely.
The capital and energy don't matter at all if you have absolutely no time.
This introduces the third critical component found in the sources, the operational system. This is where the personal optimization connects directly to business automation through a branch of their ecosystem called RKG Systems Consulting.
Okay, so this is the final piece of the puzzle.
Right. Ray and Kimberly step in here as what they call chief efficiency officers.
The sources describe a very specific, very modern trap called the DIY loop and system sprawl.
Oh, this is so common.
Yeah, basically, entrepreneurs try to stitch together a bunch of different software tools themselves. They try to make their calendar talk to their email and their email talk to their sales dashboard.
And it's a nightmare. The text mentions platforms like Zapier and Go High Level.
Right.
Zapier is essentially a digital bridge that connects different apps, and Go High Level is a massive, complex marketing platform. But when non technical founders try to wire these platforms together themselves, they inevitably run into API errors.
And an API is just the language software uses to talk to other software, right?
Exactly. And when the connection breaks, the automation fails.
The sources refer to the result as lead leakage. That's when potential clients just fall through the digital cracks because an automated email didn't trigger or, a calendar invite didn't sync properly.
It's devastating for growth.
It's like trying to be the visionary architect of a skyscraper,
Right?
but spending all day down in the basement, duct taping the plumbing together, or hiring a Michelin star chef to run your new luxury restaurant, but forcing them to spend 6 hours a day washing dishes, unclogging the sink, and trying to fix the broken cash register.
Yeah, the unique value of that chef is completely wasted on the mechanics of the plumbing.
Exactly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about the philosophy of unique ability. The text strongly warn against this kind of operational self sabotage.
It's self sabotage.
Yeah, they point out the mathematical absurdity of a high level entrepreneur wasting hours of their day troubleshooting $20 an hour technical tasks.
Right? Because their time is worth so much more.
If your unique genius, your ability to close deals or design products, is worth $1,000 an hour, spending your afternoon fixing a broken Zapier link is an incredibly inefficient allocation of human capital. It drains the very energy you optimized in the first pillar.
So, how does the RKG system actually get the Michelin star chef out of the dish pit?
They outline a highly structured 4 step process to finally break that DIY loop.
Okay. What are the steps?
First is the audit. This isn't just a quick glance at your software. It's a deep dive into the current tech stack to find the exact friction points causing the API errors and lead leakage.
Figuring out exactly where the digital pipes are leaking before trying to build a new floor on the house.
Precisely. Second is architect. Instead of randomly adding new software to fix old problems, which everyone does, they design a cohesive, scalable blueprint so the systems actually make logical sense together from the ground up.
Okay, audit, architect, what's next?
Third is automate. This is the actual building phase.
Mm-hmm.
They code the connections for seamless data flow so the entrepreneur doesn't have to manually move information from one app to another ever again.
Which saves so much time.
And finally, accelerate. This means optimizing and scaling the business with real confidence, knowing the back end infrastructure won't just collapse under the pressure of new volume.
And we really need to emphasize why this operational stuff matters to you, the listener, even if you aren't trying to build a massive global enterprise.
Oh, definitely.
Because whether you are running a small consulting business, managing a side hustle, or honestly just trying to keep a busy household and personal investment portfolio running, fragile technical workflows act as a hard ceiling on your success.
A very hard ceiling.
If every new task, new property, or new client breaks your system and creates an administrative nightmare, you will subconsciously avoid growing.
You'll self sabotage.
You will literally become afraid of your own success because of the sheer friction it causes in your daily life.
That is a crucial psychological insight from the text. The automation isn't just about saving 3 hours a week of typing, it's about removing the psychological barrier to scale.
Removing the fear.
Yes, when your systems are robust and invisible, you can focus purely on your unique ability without the constant underlying fear of the back end operations breaking down.
So, what does this all mean? When we step back and look at this massive stack of sources from Kim and Ray Gedstad, what we are really looking at is a master class in aggressive integration.
Aggressive integration? Yes.
The Mind Body Bank blueprint is arguing that everything is connected. You leverage your biological health right down to the mitochondria to generate the raw energy.
Step one.
You combine that energy with sophisticated financial levers like the HECM and infinite banking to generate the capital. And then you protect your time and scale the whole operation by building a digital automated operational machine.
It is a cohesive, automated wealth generation ecosystem. The true value proposition of these sources lies entirely in that integration.
Because normally we don't think like that.
Not at all. Think about how most people operate. They treat their health as a chore they do at the gym. They treat their mortgage as a monthly bill they pay to the bank. And they treat their business software as a frustrating IT headache.
They keep these aspects of their lives in completely separate silos.
Exactly. The Gelstad framework shatters those silos. It demands that you treat your cellular metabolism, your home equity, and your software architecture as a single interconnected compounding portfolio. When one improves, they all improve.
It all feeds back into that CEO metaphor from the beginning. You are the CEO. Your body is the corporate headquarters, and your financial and tech systems are the infrastructure. If they all run smoothly together, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Something that isn't explicitly answered in all these health protocols, financial calculators, and automation workflows.
I'm curious.
If every single aspect of our existence, from the way our cells metabolize energy to the equity trapped in our drywall, down to the exact daily workflows of our businesses, if all of that can be hyper optimized, engineered, and automated for maximum efficiency, what role does spontaneity play in a legacy?
That's a deep question.
Right. When your entire life is a perfectly optimized, frictionless system, where do the beautiful, unstructured accidents fit in? Think about that the next time you find yourself trying to optimize your morning routine.